I used to wake up feeling behind, before the day even started. No matter how early I got up, how many to-do lists I made, or how much I tried to think positive, something inside me felt off. Like I was chasing a life I was supposed to want, but deep down, I couldn't feel anything. I was surviving, not living. One morning, in the middle of a silent breakdown I didn't tell anyone about, I stumbled on a single question. It wasn't in a book or a podcast. It came from the quietest part of me, the part I'd been ignoring for years. And this question, it birthed a simple habit. One that, without exaggeration, changed the trajectory of my life in just 7 days. I'm not talking about waking up at 5 a.m. or doing an ice bath or drinking green smoothies. I'm talking about a habit so subtle, so simple, it almost sounds too gentle to change anything. But it does. Because this habit doesn't start with willpower. It starts with awareness. And awareness, when practiced daily, becomes power. Real, sustainable, life-changing power. So if you're feeling stuck, tired of doing everything right, and still feeling wrong on the inside, this video is for you. What I'm about to share isn't a hack or a trick, it's an invitation. A way to return to yourself, reset your energy, and create a ripple effect that touches every part of your life, your health, your relationships, your confidence, your clarity. And it all begins with this one simple habit. Let me take you back to the moment it all began. Let's begin the transformation. It was a Tuesday, but not the kind of Tuesday you remember. It was one of those gray, numbing days that look like every other. I was standing in the shower, letting the water hit my back, hoping it would wash away the heaviness I couldn't name. The noise of the water was loud, but not loud enough to drown out the voice inside me, the one that whispered, "This isn't it," and you know it. That morning, I didn't rush to get ready. I didn't check my phone. I just stood there, and then I did something strange. I asked myself, out loud, a question I'd never thought to ask before. What do I need right now, in this exact moment? Not what I should do, not what I have to do, just what I need. That question didn't bring a thunderbolt of clarity, but it cracked something open. It made space, and in that space, I remembered how long it had been since I had checked in with myself. For years, I'd lived on autopilot, the people pleaser, the achiever, the fixer. I was everyone's support system, but no one was mine, especially not me. I dried off, got dressed, and sat with my journal, writing the question again. What do I need right now? The answer that came was simple: to breathe. So that's what I did. I closed my eyes, took one full breath, and for the first time in what felt like years, I wasn't pushing forward. I was just being. That moment became the beginning of a habit that would reshape every part of my life. Not because it made me do more, but because it helped me feel more. More grounded, more alive, more me. Each morning for 7 days, I started with the same question. What do I need right now? Sometimes the answer was water. Sometimes it was movement. Sometimes it was silence. And sometimes it was a truth I had been afraid to admit. And little by little, I began to respond to myself. That tiny daily habit, tasking and responding to my real need, changed my relationship with time, with energy, with others. I stopped chasing life and started aligning with it. And the ripple was undeniable. My friends noticed a softness in me. My team noticed I was more focused. And I noticed that I finally liked being alone with myself. Not because things were perfect, but because I was finally present. Here's what I realized. We don't burn out from doing too much. We burn out from doing too much of what we don't need, while ignoring the one voice that actually knows what we do our own. That single habit, practice for just 7 days, was enough to begin realigning my entire life. Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same painful patterns into your love life? It's not bad luck, it's your energy attracting what feels familiar, not what you truly desire. My book, The Law of Attraction in Relationships, guides you step by step on how to break free from these frustrating cycles and finally start attracting love that is genuine, fulfilling, and aligned with who you truly are. Don't let another day pass trapped in relationships that drain you. Your breakthrough starts now. Click the link pinned in the first comment to transform your love life today. So let me ask you, what do you need right now, in this exact moment? That's where we begin. Now we'll explore how this habit rewires your brain and identity. Awesome, let's keep going. We love to believe that change comes from big moments, dramatic decisions, radical shifts, or hitting rock bottom. But neuroscience says otherwise. Lasting transformation doesn't begin with explosion. It begins with micro-shifts, tiny, repeated actions that rewire how we think, feel, and respond. And that's exactly what this one simple habit does. When you ask yourself daily, what do I need right now? You activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for awareness, choice, and executive function. Instead of reacting out of habit, you pause, and that pause creates a neurological gap where new behavior can be born. In that gap, we trade survival mode for intentionality. Dr. Joe Dispenza often speaks about how every time you make a new choice, especially one aligned with emotional truth, you signal a new gene expression. Your body literally begins preparing for a new identity, one where you're no longer stuck in the same stress loops, fears, and patterns. But here's the catch. The brain doesn't change from information. It changes from repetition with emotion. That's why this habit is powerful. It's not just mental, it's emotional. You're not checking a box. You're reconnecting with your inner world. When you ask, "What do I need?" and really listen, you're doing what psychologists call emotional attunement. This is what parents give to infants for healthy attachment. When you begin doing this for yourself, especially if you didn't receive that safety growing up, you begin repairing your internal sense of safety. And safety is the foundation for growth. Without it, no habit will stick because the body is still bracing for survival. But when you consistently practice the small self-check-in, you start building a new pattern. I am safe to listen to myself. My needs matter. I can trust my inner voice. The more you reinforce this, the more your subconscious begins to cooperate with change, rather than resist it. This is why so many people fail with life overhauls. They try to sprint their way to transformation, but their nervous system is still wired for fear, scarcity, or performance. This one habit circumvents that resistance. It doesn't demand a performance. It invites presence. Even just 90 seconds of mindful self-attunement per day has been shown to lower cortisol, increase resilience, and boost emotional regulation. That's not spiritual fluff, it's measurable biology. You're not being lazy when you pause to ask what you need. You're being strategic. You're choosing sustainable transformation over performative hustle. Over time, here's what begins to happen. Your inner critic gets quieter because it's being replaced by an inner nurturer. Your sense of urgency softens because you realize presence is more productive than panic. Your relationships improve because you stop outsourcing your needs to people who were never meant to meet them. Your clarity sharpens because you finally have space to hear yourself. This habit may seem gentle, but don't mistake it for weakness. Gentleness is the foundation of real strength. And every time you choose to check in with yourself, you're building the strength to live in alignment rather than an obligation. Let me give you a real example. A woman I coached started doing this habit every morning before checking her email. At first, the answers were simple. I need water. I need to stretch. I need quiet. But by day 4, something deeper emerged. I need to stop pretending I'm okay with my job. That single awareness sparked a courageous conversation. Not with her boss, but with herself. Within weeks, she began exploring new paths, reconnected with the creative dreams she had buried, and eventually pivoted her entire career. All from one question. That's the power of microshifts. They seem small, but they create a domino effect that your future self will thank you for. And remember, you don't need to get it perfect. You just need to be honest. Even on the days when your answer is "I don't know," that honesty is the shift. You're building a new habit of listening instead of fixing. You're shifting from reaction to response, from fear to choice, from performance to presence. Next up, this is where we explore how this habit transforms your relationships, confidence, and sense of identity, especially in love. Great, let's keep the momentum going. Something unexpected happens when you begin asking yourself what you need. You stop reacting and you start choosing. See, most of us live our days in reaction mode. We react to emails, to stress, to other people's moods, to our own anxiety. It's a cycle. Someone triggers us, and we spiral into overthinking, or people-pleasing, or withdrawal. But when you start each day with intention by tuning into your real need, you shift out of that loop. You start responding from alignment instead of reacting from pain. Let me tell you about Laura. She'd spent most of her adult life in relationships that felt like emotional roller coasters. High highs, low lows. Always second-guessing herself. Always trying to earn love. When she began practicing this habit, her first insight wasn't about her partner. It was about herself. She realized she was waking up every morning asking, "How do I keep them happy?" instead of, "What do I need to feel safe and grounded today?" That one shift changed everything. She stopped bending to She started setting boundaries not from anger, but from clarity. And she began noticing something incredible. The people who only loved her when she was small started disappearing. And the people who respected her truth began showing up. Because when you tune into what you need, you naturally stop tolerating what drains you. You raise your energetic standards not by force, but by truth. You become magnetic to peace, magnetic to alignment, magnetic to real connection. And this doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. In your career, you stop saying yes to projects that burn you out. In your friendships, you stop pretending to be okay when you're not. In your relationship with yourself, you finally come home. There's a reason people feel off even when life looks good on the outside. It's because intention has been replaced by performance. And you can't feel alive when you're disconnected from your own voice. This daily question brings your voice back online. You stop outsourcing your sense of worth. You stop managing everyone else's emotions. And you start owning your space, gently but unapologetically, because here's the truth. People can't respect needs you don't express, and you can't express what you don't recognize. Recognition begins with awareness. Awareness begins with that simple question: what do I need right now? And when you ask it daily, you stop living by accident and start living by design. You become the author of your life. Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same painful patterns into your love life? It's not bad luck, it's your energy attracting what feels familiar, not what you truly desire. My book, The Law of Attraction in Relationships, guides you step by step on how to break free from these frustrating cycles and finally start attracting love that is genuine, fulfilling, and aligned with who you truly are. Don't let another day pass trapped in relationships that drain you. Your breakthrough starts now. Click the link pinned in the first comment to transform your love life today. The shift from reaction to intention doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen when you choose honesty over autopilot consistently. Let this habit be your anchor. Next up, now it's time to break this down into real steps: what to do each day to feel the shift. For yourself, awesome. Let's dive into the practical transformation now. Let's make this real, because inspiration without action fades, but inspiration plus repetition, that's where transformation lives. This is your 7-day reset framework, a daily ritual that takes less than 10 minutes, but can completely realign how you move through your life. Day 1: pause before the world wakes up, before checking your phone, email, or anyone else's needs. Pause. Place your hand over your heart or stomach, somewhere you can feel yourself. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask, what do I need right now? Write the answer down, even if it's vague. This isn't about fixing, it's about noticing. Day 2. Honor one small need today. Take one tiny step to honor your answer. If it was rest, maybe you step outside for 5 minutes. If it was joy, maybe you listen to one song you love. The power isn't in the size, it's in the intentionality. You're telling your system, I hear you, I see you. Day 3. The need behind the need. This is when things deepen. When you check in today, ask yourself, what's underneath this need? If you feel the need to be alone, is it really solitude or a boundary that's been crossed? If you crave validation, is it because you haven't been validating yourself? Let the answers surprise you. Day 4. Embody it. Whatever the need is today, embody it. If your need is peace, move slowly. If it's connection, speak honestly with someone you trust. The goal isn't to talk about your need, it's to become the energy of it. Day 5. Rewrite a pattern. Look at where your automatic reactions have betrayed your deeper needs. Do you say yes when you mean no? Do you withdraw when you want connection? Choose one old pattern, and today, respond differently, even if it's just once. Celebrate the shift, no matter how small. Day 6. Ask before acting. Before any major decision today, replying to a text, scheduling something, even spending money, pause and ask, does this honor what I need right now? This habit will save you from emotional hangovers, overcommitment, and self-abandonment. Day 7. Reflect and reset today. Journal what you've noticed. What surprised you? What shifted? What do you feel more of? Peace, clarity, confidence? Then ask, what would my life look like if I practiced this for the next 30 days? Let the vision rise. This framework isn't rigid. It's not another checklist. It's a ritual of returning back to yourself, your truth, your center. And the best part, you don't need to wait for the right time. You don't need a perfect schedule. You only need a willingness to listen. Because your inner wisdom, it's always speaking. It's just been waiting for you to stop long enough to hear it. Even if you stumble through this week, even if some days you forget or resist, you've still planted the seed. And seeds don't demand perfection. They need consistency, attention, and belief. You can reset your entire life, one honest question at a time. Next, let's envision the version of you who lives this way fully, honestly, powerfully. Perfect. Let's bring it home with emotional depth and clarity. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up, not to an alarm, not to anxiety, not to the mental list of 1,000 things, but to your own presence. You place your hand over your chest and breathe. Before the world rushes in, you ask yourself, what do I need today? And here's the shift. You don't ignore the answer anymore. You honor it. Maybe you move slower. Maybe you say no without apologizing. Maybe you finally make that decision you've been avoiding, not from panic, but from clarity. This is the person you're becoming. Not someone who has it all together, but someone who is deeply together with themselves. A person who no longer rushes toward love out of loneliness but attracts it from wholeness. A person who no longer says yes to prove their worth but chooses yes from alignment. A person who no longer tries to be everything to everyone but is finally everything to themselves. And here's the part no one tells you: when you become that person, your energy changes. Not just your mood, your field. People start responding differently. Opportunities feel drawn to you. Your intuition sharpens. Your boundaries become graceful, not forced. Your self-respect becomes magnetic. You begin to recognize that you never needed to do more to be worthy. You just needed to remember what already made you enough. And it all starts with that one small, sacred habit. You see, this isn't about productivity. It's not about becoming some hyper-efficient version of yourself. It's about reclaiming your relationship with your own soul. The habit of asking, "What do I need?" is not just self-care, it's self-leadership. It means you're no longer outsourcing your direction to others. You're tuning in, aligning, choosing with intention. And when you do that consistently, life begins to reorganize around your inner truth. This is why the world needs your alignment more than your hustle. Because when you live in alignment, you become a mirror. You give others permission to pause, to feel, to remember themselves. So, what happens if you stay on this path? You become the version of yourself that's been buried under the noise. The version that doesn't flinch at silence, that doesn't shrink when challenged, that doesn't fear solitude because they know that peace lives there. You become someone who walks into rooms with quiet confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you've stopped abandoning your own. You become someone who doesn't need external validation, because you already have internal alignment. And that kind of presence, it changes everything. So take this in. You are already worthy. You are already powerful. And you are already enough to begin. You just need to stop waiting for permission and start building the habit that brings you home. The person you become isn't out there. They're already inside you, waiting for the pause, the question, the breath. That starts it all. Up next, time to anchor the journey and leave your viewer with a heart-opening takeaway and a hook for what's coming next. Alright, here comes the final piece to complete the transformation. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You don't need a 5-year plan or a 10-step system. You just need to start listening to you. That's where everything begins. Because transformation doesn't start with a strategy. It starts with honesty. One moment, one breath, one question. What do I need right now? It may not sound radical, but over time, it changes everything. It heals the self-neglect. It breaks the performance loop. It rewires your nervous system to trust peace instead of chaos. And it teaches you something powerful. You don't have to earn alignment. You return to it. Day by day, this habit becomes your foundation. It's what grounds you when the world spins too fast. It's what strengthens you when the noise gets loud. It's what brings clarity when life feels like a blur. And most of all, it's what reconnects you to the version of you that was never lost, just unheard. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice it. Ask the question, listen to the answer, and take one small step in that direction. Don't aim for perfect, aim for honest. Because honest is where the magic lives. You don't need more information. You need more integration. You don't need to do more. You need to feel more. And then act from that place fully, freely, intentionally. And if you're wondering, can something this small really change my life? Let me ask you this. What if your next breakthrough doesn't require more effort, but more alignment? That's what we'll explore in the next video. How to know when you're forcing life versus when you're flowing with it, and what to do to shift into alignment instantly. Because you're not here to just survive your life. You're here to feel it, own it, and live it fully. And it all starts with one question. Ask it now. What do you need?